Okay, so what does GCF stand for? Greatest common factor. And if what we used to do, remember, we even talked about this yesterday, when it says, what are the factors of 12 and what are the factors of 36? They want you to go through and figure out what numbers multiply together to give you 12. I know that 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, then I go to 4 and 3. I start repeating. So everything above this line right up here, these are the factors. The factors of 36. Let me move that line a little bit. Okay, so I'll go here. Factors of 36. 1 and 36. 2 and what? 18. 3 and 12. 4 and 9. 5, that doesn't work. 6 and 6 does. And then from here we start repeating. Now, when it says the greatest common factor, when I start looking, 12 is the largest number that's in common in both of them. So when they say, what is the GCF of 12 and 36, the largest number that goes into both of them are 12. That's what you did before, but now that we have the calculator, to use the calculator to find your GCF of 12 and 36. Okay, and we've talked about this. Make sure that you have this written down. I'll bring this back up in a minute. I'm going to get out the, I'm going to pull up the calculator. But you want to make sure that you have these steps written down. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, let me delete or clear this. You're going to press the math button. Remember the math button's right here underneath the alpha. And it says you're going to press the right arrow key right here so that the number right here is highlighted. You're going to go to number 9. Now you can just press the number 9. I'll go ahead and arrow down. And remember, number 9 says GCD instead of GCF. That just means greatest common divisor. Same thing. Press enter. Now it says GCD, and now you just put in the numbers that you want. 12, comma, 36, and the other parentheses. Then you'll press enter. It will give you your GCF. Now remember, you can only do 2 numbers at a time this way. Okay, that's the only way. Okay, now, let's look at this. This is probably going to be a little bit easier than yesterday, but this is the most, most of the time what we're going to do when we're talking about GCF. First off, you need to look at these 3 numbers, okay? I've got 2, I've got 10, and I've got 12. Out of these 3 numbers, we need to factor out the GCF. Well, you can only put in 2 at a time, but one of the things I do is I look at the smallest number. This number, does 2 go into 10? Yes. Does 2 go into 12? Yes. My GCF for this one will be 2. If the smallest number you have in this trinomial goes into all of them, then that's your GCF. Now, is there an X in all of them? No. No, there's not an X in the 12, so there's nothing. You can't pull out a variable with your GCF. So now what we're doing is we pulled out the 2, and now we need to write what's left. Yesterday I talked and I showed using the box. What you really could do is just go right here and divide every term right here by 2 because you're pulling it out. Well, 2 divided by 2 is what? 1, and so it's x squared. 10 divided by 2? 5x, 12 divided by 2, plus 6. Now this is your answer. You have factored out the GCF. And there's a reason why we're doing this, and it's going to lead into tomorrow. See, because, and then people go, well, how can I check it? A couple different ways you can check it. Goodness. One way is to take the original problem right here, put it into Y1. What you think the answer is right here, and put it into Y2. And when you press second graph, how do you know you're correct? If all of Y1 and Y2 are the same. If the whole column right here, these two columns are exactly the same numbers. Now, another way to check is you go back and do FOIL, or not FOIL on this one, but you distribute. 2 times x squared, 2x squared. 2 times 5x, 10x. 2 times 6 is 12. Next one. Write this one down. Let's figure out what the GCF is. I told you first to go and find the smallest number. 9. Does 9 go into 39? It doesn't. It doesn't work out very nicely. Okay, so then I look at 9 and I think, well, what other numbers multiply together to give me 9? 1 and 9, or 3 and 3. Well, does 3 go into 39? Yes. Does 3 go into 12? Yes. My GCF up here is 3. If you don't know that, go to the calculator and put in just 2 of the numbers. Okay, take that smaller number and one of the other ones and do the GCF thing. It will come up with 3. Okay, so I'm going to pull out a 3, and I need to write what's left. So I divide every term by 3. 12 divided by 3, 4x squared. 39 divided by 3, 13x. 9 divided by 3, plus 3. And as you do these on your own, you can go back and do the distributive property to check, or remember, original problem into Y1, what you think the answer is into Y2. Try number 3. Do that now. All right, on this one, I told you that you need to go and look. Here is the smallest number right here, 2. Does 2 go into 22? Yep. Does it go into 48? Sure does, because 2 goes into all even numbers. So my GCF is 2. So now I pull 2 out and I write what's left. That means to divide each term by 2. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I have x squared. 22 divided by 2, 11x. 48 divided by 2, 24. Here's the next one. Try this one. Okay, here on number 4. If I look at the number 6, 6 doesn't go into 21. And some people go, well, how do you know that? Well, if you take 21, whoa, get out of there. Take 21 divided by 6, it doesn't come out to be an even number. Okay, so that's not going to work. So, but what we can do is take 6 and 21 and see what the GCF is. So I'm going to press math, arrow over to number. I'm going to press 9, put in 6, 21, and press enter. My GCF between these two numbers is 3. Does 3 go into 12? Yes, that's my GCF. So now I've got GCF, it's 3. So now factor out that 3, bring out that 3, and you're going to divide everything by 3. 6 divided by 3, 2x squared. Negative 21 divided by 3, negative 7x, and then that's negative 4. That's your answer. Okay? Number 5. Look at number 5. As you look at this, we look and see, okay, 2. 2 is my lowest number. Does 2 go into 3? No, it doesn't. If 2 doesn't go into 3, there is no greatest common factor other than 1, and 1 doesn't count. So since 2 cannot go into 3, 2 does not go into 9, there is no greatest common factor for that other than 1. Okay, the GCF technically would be 1, but it doesn't make sense to pull out a 1. This right here, we cannot factor out anything. Okay, there is no GCF to factor out. And that's okay that there's none, because you have to recognize that for what we're doing tomorrow. All right, try number 6. Number 6, you're probably going to have to use that calculator to figure out that GCF. So go ahead and take a minute and do that. Okay, so on this one, 6 is the smallest number that's right there, right? Does 6 go into 42? Yeah, it does go into 42, doesn't it? Does 6 go, well, let me go back here. So how do I know that? Oh, go away thing. All right. 72 divided by 6, and that works. But does 6 go into 192? Take 192 divided by 6. Enter. It sure does. Since 6 goes into both of them evenly, then that means your GCF is 6. And if you didn't know that, you could go in and go into the math, arrow over to number 9, put in there 6. I would go to the biggest one, 192, doesn't matter which one, and it would tell me that the GCF is 6. Okay, so your GCF is 6, and so I pull out a 6, and you have to write what's left. Remember, you divide everything by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so you get x squared. What did it say? Negative 72 divided by 6? Negative 12x. What about negative 192? Negative 32. Okay, so I have factored out the GCF. Next one. Okay, on this one, again, I look for the smallest one, and I see it's 6. Does 6 go into 8? No. All right, so 1 and 6, and what are the other factors? 2 and 3. The next biggest one is 3. Does 3 go into 8? Nope, so it's 2. The GCF is 2. So I pull out that 2, divide everything by 2. I get 8 divided by 2, 4x squared plus 4x minus 3. Number 8. Try number 8. On number 8, your smallest number is 12. But does 12 go into 33? Yeah, because if I go up here and go 33, turn off that pin part. There we go. Try again. If I take 33 divided by 12, it does not go in evenly. It gives me a decimal. So let's find the GCF out between 12 and 33. Math, arrow over to number, 9, 12, comma, 33. Enter. It's 3. What does 3 go into 60? Yes, 60 divided by 3 is 20. So right now I know that my GCF is 3. So I pull out a 3 and I write what's left. Divide every term by 3. So I end up with 12 divided by 3. I always do that. I divide it in my head. x squared. 33 divided by 3 is 11x. Negative 6 divided by 3, negative 20. All right, there's number 9. Do number 9. As I look at this one, I see that 8 is the smallest number. I know that 8 goes into 24, but I'm just not sure about 26. If you took 26 divided by 8, I have a feeling that's probably not going to work out very well. And it doesn't. It gives me a decimal. So if I go math, arrow over to number 9, 8, comma, 26. It tells me that it's 2. The GCF between 8 and 26 is 2. Does 2 go into 24? Yes, it does. So your GCF is 2. So I pull out a 2 and I write what's left. I get 4x squared plus 13x minus 12. All right, number 10. There's only 12 of these on here, so we're about done. All right, again, step 1. Find the smallest number. That's 8. Does 8 go into 10? 10 divided by 8, that's not going to work. So what we'll do, we'll go up here, not that one, go into the calculator. Hopefully you'd be able to see this without doing it, but you go to math, arrow over to number 9. I would do 10, comma 8, and it tells me my GCF is 2. I know that 2 goes into 24, so I know my GCF is 2. So I pull out the 2 by dividing everything by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5x squared. 24 divided by 2, 12x. 8 divided by 2 is 4. All right, try this one. We want to figure out the GCF and factor out what's left. This one, the smallest number right here is 2. I know that 2 goes into 8. My GCF is 2, so I pull out a 2, divide everything by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and then I put the x squared on it. Negative 2 divided by 2, negative 1. Okay, I believe this is the last one right here. Factor this one out. All right, on this one, the smallest coefficient is 18. Well, let's just, since there's 2 numbers, I'll just go up here and I'll press math. Here we go. Math, arrow over to number, put in 18, comma, 32. I didn't press 9. I didn't do all that, did I? Oops, oopsie. Math, arrow over to number, try again, press the number 9. Now let's try 18, comma, 32, parenthesis, press enter. GCF for all that work is just 2. So I have GCF is 2. Pull that out, write what's left. Divide by 2. Well, 18 divided by 2 is 9. X squared. 32 divided by 2, 16. And all we're doing today is factoring out the GCF. After this, tomorrow we'll be starting on working on the stuff that's inside here. But you have to be able to know how to factor out the GCF first before we can do anything else.